We are building, we are building, we are building. What's up, everybody? This is Dr. Joe Daniels, host of the Build Community Through Love podcast, where we highlight the efforts and strategies used to grow community through economic development, community development, and education. I'm excited to have a good friend of mine, Keon Rahzeem Mitchell, on episode 15 of the Build Community Love podcast. So good. Our conversation was so impactful, so deep, so full that this is going to be a two-parter. So today will be part one, and next week will be part number two. So real quick, before we get into the episode, I just want to read you a little bit about Keon so you have some information about him as you listen to the episode. So Keon Rahzeem Mitchell decided to pursue an acting career his senior year of college, a dream he always wanted to chase. After completing his first acting class ever prior to graduating, he continued studying the art and perfecting his craft at the Raleigh Little Theater in Raleigh, North Carolina. His commitment resulted in an opportunity to perform on stage in a play based on the cakewalk that originated in Florida in the late 1800s called Brandy and Brother Wind, where he played Brother Wind, a mystic. In 2015, Keon relocated to Charlotte, North Carolina to film his very first on-camera project for none other than ESPN in a leading role as a high school football player. Shortly after his national television debut, he joined the cast of David E. Talbert's Almost Christmas, I'm sure you've seen it, in 2016 in the role of young Walter. Continuing to hone his craft, Keon has various projects in development while making major strides towards reaching his goal of being among America's next generation of A-list actors. Keon earned his bachelor's degree in computer science from North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University and works as a business analyst, a business systems analyst. He currently lives where he is from, Atlanta, Georgia. And real quick, talking about these different projects, if you've been paying attention and been up to speed on all your good shows coming out now on HBO's Lovecraft Country, which is executive produced by Jordan Peele, you would have seen Keon this past Sunday in the third episode. So keep tabs on him, guys. He is doing amazing things. He is growing in his passion. And that is the reason why we have him on, because he is phenomenal, but he talks a lot about living his vision. So real quick, just to let you know, this episode was recorded days before we lost a great one. And I know I can probably speak for Keon on this one. It really hurt both of us to lose our king, to lose, the King T'Challa, our Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman. And so I just want to give a heartfelt, I can't even really find the words, you guys, but I just want to, it hurt a lot that we lost Chadwick so suddenly like that, at least for us. And I'm just thankful that we were able to get and experience his life as he fully lived out his purpose in only 43 years of life. So prayers and condolences go to his family. And I pray that his life's work is something that we can imitate, even though I know we can't duplicate. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the show. I am here with none other than Keon Mitchell, my guy from all the way from Atlanta, Georgia. We met at A&T, and he has been like he has utilized A&T as a crazy launching pad to do some phenomenal things. I'm telling you, things that happen in McNair Hall, man, shoot, you could go to space, or you can be the actor to play the person who goes to space. So you never know. That may be my guy Keon, but man, real quick, man, how you doing? What's been going on in your sphere?
First of all, Joe, thanks for having me on the podcast, man. It's an honor to be here. Yeah, I see the things that you're doing as well, So as much as this is about me, Thank you for having me and providing a platform for me to be able to even speak about what I got going on and everything that you have going on as well, man. So far as myself, it's been a lot going on. I've been doing fine, man. You know, it's been a crazy 2020 year. But overall, everything has been moving. My acting career is, is flourishing nowadays, and I'm also still doing my corporate life at the same time. You know, so it's been pretty hectic, kind of balancing both with everything going on with COVID in 2020. But overall, as a professional, as a being, I'm doing just fine, Joey. I can't even complain.
Man, that's fantastic. All right, I'm gonna throw a curveball at you right quick because this came to mind last week. And it's been on my mind. It's been on my heart. I think I'm gonna write a book about this topic. So I'm gonna start using this as the beginning of all of my podcast interviews going forward. And so I'm gonna smack you right between the eyes, and this is gonna be the beginning of this. You're my guinea pig, man. So good luck.
It's all good.
But here's the topic. The topic is, do dreams have zip codes? And so you're from what, the 30034 area?
Yep.
So tell me about when you were a kid growing up in that zip code. What were dreams like for you and your friends?
Dreams for us, in Atlanta, on the east side, were pretty, they were kind of far-fetched. They were far-fetched in a sense where you didn't even want to tell anybody about your dreams. Whether it was the environment, not having, the proper, things needed to cultivate somebody's dream, or just being from the place that we were from or that we are from. We will somewhat talk about our dreams, maybe gloss over our dreams, but we would never actually talk about like what our past would look like to actually get to those dreams, over there in Decatur, Georgia, So it's always amazing to see people from the east side actually go out and pursue their dreams and actually make them happen. And it's even more inspiring to see those that are still pursuing it, who haven't necessarily gotten a glimpse into what their dream really looks like in full, or who haven't had a taste of those breadcrumbs leading to that whole loaf just yet. You know what I mean? So growing up in that side of Atlanta, it's a dog-eat-dog world. First and foremost, it's the east side. The east side has a lot of great people. A lot of great people have come out of the east side of Georgia, east side of Atlanta, excuse me. So the motivation is there, but sometimes the resources isn't necessarily there. And of course, we're not necessarily provided with the most opportunity coming from that particular area. But Decatur, Georgia, DeKalb County more specifically, has a ton of raw talent, from music to athletics to the sciences to the arts. Southwest DeKalb High School was the high school that I went to, and we were like a baby FAMU at the time. So we will always have, FAMU conversations. FAMU will always pop up to our high school, where we just spent a lot of time down there in Florida with them, the Rose Bowl. This is when I was in band and things like that. And it's kind of a give or take situation. It's really what you make it coming out of the west side of Atlanta, or even the east side of Atlanta. This really just depends on how you go about chasing your dream, and that's what's going to tell you whether you're equipped enough to at least make it or not. But I don't believe that dreams have a zip code, especially nowadays.
Okay. In terms of representation, do you think if people can see themselves and touch who they see, do you think that helps with the ability to at least discuss dreams a lot more?
When you say touch who they see their future selves being?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of living your vision. That's a little very small campaign that I had at one point once I graduated from ANC. Live your vision. Live your day-to-day life as the person that you see your future self being. And then you'll magically start seeing that person unfold every day in the mirror as you work consciously and intentionally towards becoming that person. So how do you take your mentality and make something mental, and that's a vision, tangible? You start doing those things that you see yourself doing every single day in your future, the future person that you want to be, whether that's being an actor, being a music artist, being that doctor, lawyer, whatever your circumstances may be. And you start kind of slowly crafting a plan of action to get there and start imagining, or you start kind of seeing your path of getting there. Everybody has their own path, to get to their end goal. Some ways are orthodox, some days are unorthodox. Mine was unorthodox, so everybody kind of has their way about going about doing things. But at the end of the day, as long as you're sticking to who you see yourself being in the future, you'll become that person. But it's really up to you and what you're willing to do to become that person and actually carving out what that person looks like.
Got it. So growing up in a mini FAMU environment, why A&T?
Ooh, boy, I had to get out of Atlanta. I had to get, I would have had so much going on that wasn't conducive to a positive future. But so a little backstory to that. My mom didn't necessarily have a plan for me to go to college.
Okay.
I don't really come from a college-based family. All my family went to A&T. All my family went to Ohio or Bama and stuff like that. Like, nah, we don't really come from that. So my mother didn't have a plan for me to go to college. When I told her I wanted to go to college, my senior year of my high school career is when I actually discovered what college literally was. I didn't know what college was or a university, what that meant. Colleges are parts of university. I didn't know any of that stuff, man.
Yeah.
And I went to my mom's house. I said, "Hey, Mom, I want to go to college." She said, "What?" I didn't plan on you wanting to go to college, but she ultimately ended up making a way. And I toured Georgia State. I went to Valdosta. But I also wanted to go to A&T because right when I went on Google, I said, "Yo, I want to be an engineer. What college should I go to?" Google. The North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University popped up first link. And once I saw that, I read the history of A&T. I took a visit to A&T. Everything else was out of the window.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. People don't know, Joe.
Man, look,
they know, but they don't really know.
I don't get to tell this story all the time, man. But I remember I was trying to play football real bad in college, and so people from my church was just like, "Well, if your son wants to be an engineer, you got to go to A&T." And like Dad's a pastor, so that's like 400, 500 people. Like, "Oh yeah, I know people who went to A&T for engineering."
Yeah.
So the only time that I could get like the full tour, and I had like a whole red carpet thing because my uncle knows Chancellor Martin, and that's a whole nother story. But my dad was like, "Well, we're going, but we got to go on Valentine's Day." And I had a girlfriend at the time in high school, so I'm like, "Dad, I can't leave. I can't go on Valentine's Day. Like, this is my shorty. Like, I can't just leave her on Valentine's Day." Man, but let me tell you something, bro. When I tell you I was on campus for maybe 7 minutes, and I fell in love with A&T on Valentine's Day, bro. Went and got me a hoodie, and I was sold. So I always think about A&T, man, especially when it comes to Valentine's Day, man, because I think A&T truly my first love, brother.
Honestly, for real, like, people don't understand that about A&T. When I got up there, I saw the campus. It reminded me of home. It reminded me of Southwest DeCat. It reminded me of the culture that I had down here in Atlanta on the east side. Mm. But it was just amazing to see because, growing up again on that side of town, you just learn what you learn in the history books in high school that aren't accurate. You're kind of born into this idea or mentality of somewhat of struggle to some capacity. Mm-hmm. My mom, she doesn't have a college degree. She's been working since she was 18, just working. She worked to graduate. I mean, she graduated to work and has worked to essentially survive. Mm. So having that foresight of career building and I want this, how do I get that? Okay, once I get that, how do I get to that next level? That doesn't necessarily run throughout the course of my immediate family. When I got to A&T and I saw these Black professors, I saw these Black kids, cool, fresh, we did live A&T and homecomings practically throughout the week if we really chose to, how we roll. At the same time, we get our business done. Yeah. A&T at one point was, some people would say, easy to get into, but it's extremely hard to get out of A&T because, the academia is thorough. So that whole, work hard, play later concept, or work hard, play hard concept at the same time, comes in full fruition for me, especially going to A&T. The culture is beautiful. The people are beautiful. It's just black, man, and it's something that you would want to be a part of as a young boy who doesn't necessarily have much direction in regards to how to pursue his education or how to pursue his career coming from a single parent home, where that's not necessarily provided or that guidance isn't provided.
For sure.
Yeah.
So you're at A&T. Why computer science?
So growing up in high school, I was a part of the STEM program, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. I've had nothing but AP classes in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really good in math, really good in science. Those are my two babies, you know what I mean? Like, I loved it to death, linear, everything about math. I love it, So engineering was what piqued my interest in computer science, which had a first interest as computer engineering, was airplanes.
Okay.
Airplanes. My mother always used to take me to Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, and we just watched the planes go up and down. And I would always wonder, how in the hell is this possible? You know what I mean? Like, how is this possible? That shit gotta be heavy. You know what I mean? There's no way it's flying. Like, ain't no way. I'm gonna keep on there like, get out of here. Ain't no way. It's heavy. It never made sense until I started really getting heavy into the math and sciences and engineering and technology.
For
sure. Program, man. Like, so I was like, okay. So I even get into little sorry guys. I even get into like little moments where I'm driving, I just see a plane flying low and I get caught slipping, seriously. So what piqued my interest in computer science, which originally was computer engineering, was aerodynamics. So I wanted to go to school to be an aerospace engineer. Be honest, I didn't have the test scores, to jump right into the engineering program. So they put me in general engineering, and then from there, I worked into mechanical. Then I switched over to computer engineering. But then Professor Bullock convinced me that, hey, computer engineering is a combination of electrical engineering and computer science. Why don't you just pick one? And I said, you know what? All right. So I went computer science.
Okay.
I knew that computer science would have ultimately paved the way to me becoming the man I am today. That's with my lifestyle, my professional life in corporate America, but also being in a position to be able to fund my dream and chasing it at the same time. If my mom had not gone to college, if my mom did go to college, she could have easily influenced me to go to a school of her choice.
Mm-hmm.
If I didn't have that want and desire of furthering my education, I wouldn't have found A&T. I wouldn't have found somebody like you, Joe, other great Aggies that inspired me as a freshman coming into A&T to want to excel and still have a good time at the same time, but excel in my academics, which ultimately led to me saying, I want to do something a little more fun. Let me try my acting out. I want to see if I can do this. And essentially that put me in a position, computer science has put me in a position to be able to sack and live the life I live today, take care of my mom, and also still pursue my dream.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you you talked about transitioning to, also pursuing acting. It said, when you online and different places that talk about you and what you've been doing and kind of your accolades, it said that you had a beginning by just saying, I'm going to my last year of college. I'm not normal. There's something about me that everybody keeps telling me that I need to begin living out this thing that comes natural to me. And lo and behold, it becomes a passion of yours, or it has always been a passion of yours. You just didn't give yourself permission to pursue it. And so you gave yourself permission to pursue acting, all in while still trying to graduate with a degree in computer science of all majors. And so walk me through that process and where you were, like, what was your mindset like at that point?
So that was senior year. Senior year, I had pretty much passed all my classes. I just had nothing but electives. I tested out of, the swimming classes. I was a lifeguard since I was 14, so that was easy. So I tested out of that the first week. And I had a few more electives. I can't really remember them all, but I just said, you know what? Growing up, I always, Denzel Washington was my icon, still is. One of the very first movies I remember seeing was Training Day growing up in the 90s. I mean, what was it the 90s? Anyway, one of the first movies I really, really stuck with me was Training Day. And that was my first time getting a glimpse of him. So I was like, you know what? Okay, this is something that I really want to try. I've always wanted to try it, but I didn't have the esteem, the confidence, the know-how, the education behind it to understand how do I pursue something that massive. Because when I think about something, I'm always thinking like the biggest thing of them all. So sometimes I would shoot myself short in tackling that beast. You know what I mean? So I didn't give myself that chance because I wasn't ready. I grew up in a household where my mother also said, pursue your academics. So she didn't really want me involved in too many sports and things like that. I did band. I played the saxophone. Still can play it. So I marched, and I stepped in high school. But she really wanted me to focus on my grades. So I didn't necessarily pursue the passion that I had, and I kind of really buried it. But once I kind of got to A&T really, quite frankly, brought me out of a shell, and it really helped me discover who I am. That was through the good times and the bad times. Both are needed. I'm a firm believer that God uses your flaws to streamline your path. He uses your flaws to hold you tight so he can deliver a message and keep you going. Just, it's a lesson that comes with it, but it happens that way. And I said senior year, I said, you know what? I talked to my homegirl. I talked to Alicia Williams. She started 100, 100 collegiate black, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm messing that up on the mic. Excuse me, but she started, what is it, Joey? 100 collegiate black women.
Okay.
On campus. She started an organization. So we were up and planning that and talking about that, but then we had a conversation in the car outside of Pryor Hall. I said, you know what, girl, listen, I got a 3.0 on the dot and I'm about to graduate, but at least I think I want to be an actor. This was Terrence J. This was when Terrence J was heavy and coming to Homecoming and stuff like that. He was extremely an inspiration to me at that time, coming out of AT and acting and becoming a dope PR representative and such. And I said, I want to pursue acting. She was the very first person to ever say, Keon, looked at me in my eyes and said, Keon, do that shit. I said, for real? He said, yeah, do it. All right. Alicia Williams, never forget it, man. I went over there, signed up for the elective over there, for acting for non-acting majors, joining there with a friend of mine from school. We joined it together. She's out there in LA doing her thing. And once I graduated, after that conversation with Mr. Horton, moved to Raleigh-Durham, had some issues and struggles, really trying to get a handle on whether this is something I was going to do or not. But it wasn't for like somebody like Travis Jackson, who's the CEO, founder of HBCU Pride Nation. If it wasn't for Travis praying every single day with me and talking to certain peers like the crew, Monica, etc., just talking to them like, hey, this is something I need to do. Should I do it? Do it. Sign up for acting. Sign up for classes. I went to go and sign up for classes. I got pulled into a play called Miranda and Brother Wayne, and ever since then, it's just been a train. It's going and going and going. So that's what that looked like. Because I really didn't. If it wasn't for me unfolding, my talent in school, the person that I was in school, the influence I had in school, good or bad, like in certain cases, I wouldn't have been able to develop that confidence and be able to look at myself and say, Keon, you can really do this shit if you really wanted to.
That's real.
Lord behold, here we are.
That's real. So we're going to go ahead and go into our next segment. This segment is called Take Me Into Your Classroom. You become the teacher. Go ahead and walk to either the chalkboard or dry erasers, whatever you prefer. Here's the marker. Here's the chalk.
Okay, all right.
It's your turn, man. All right. Real quick, I want you to walk me through, because this is what you said previously. You said you are a huge fan of living your vision. And so I think a lot of people have a hard time taking what they visualize or what they dream in their mind and putting it down on paper.
Yeah.
And then after it's on paper, walking the steps to begin executing the vision. So if you can, in either 3 to 5 steps, walk me through how someone takes a dream, crafts a vision, and begins walking to execute. All right, everybody, that's the end of part number 1. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to tune in to part number 2 as Keon takes us into his classroom and discusses dreams. You do not want to miss this. All right, take it away, Tiff.
Thank you for listening to another episode on the Build Community Through Love podcast. Subscribe on all platforms to stay up to date with new episodes. Also, stay connected with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Build Community Through Love, and visit our website at buildcommunitythroughlove.com. Let's keep working, y'all. And if someone asks, tell them we're building.